Welcome, Alan. Thanks for joining me.
No worries.
I really appreciate your time for doing this. So, to start with, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'm 21 years old. I'm currently a university student studying at the University of New South Wales. And I'm currently on my gap year to really look at developing myself. I guess finding my true self and seeing what potential there is.
So, when you met me, you were looking for an accountability coach.
Yep.
So tell me, what were you exactly looking for to achieve by hiring an accountability coach?
Okay. So basically with me, I've always been interested in personal development, that sort of stuff. So I read a lot of books, I attend a lot of seminars, and I learn about a lot of interesting content. Content that can really, if you put into action, can really help you. But what I realized was that over the years I've sort of read a lot and I've attended a lot of seminars and that sort of stuff, and I just have too many strategies inside my mind, and it's been really hard for me to sort of like pick out what things to focus on, and the main barrier that I have with myself is that despite having all this knowledge and all this sort of stuff, I find it really hard to sort of keep myself on track with carrying out those actions and keeping myself accountable. I find that when I'm by myself, I tend to procrastinate a lot.
Right.
And when I do things, I don't do them all the way.
Yes.
And I guess that's why, and things weren't working out for a few years, and then that's why I was looking to hire an accountability coach.
Right.
So somebody who I'd share my goals with, and someone who would, keep me on track with them. So if I wasn't doing something properly and I wasn't doing them all the time on a consistent basis, this accountability coach would then, I guess, reprimand me in some sense and sort of make me get back on track.
Okay.
And then when I did do something properly, then the accountability coach would, I guess, reinforce that. And I guess that's why I, hired an accountability coach.
Okay.
Yeah.
And were you also hoping to uncover what patterns that were leading you to not be able to achieve your goals, and what was causing you to procrastinate, and to get to the bottom of what are some of the causes for you not to take those actions?
Honestly, I had never really thought about that before. That's why I wanted an accountability coach. I wanted someone else to do the thinking for me.
Yes.
I'm kind of like that, a bit lazy, And so, I didn't really think about it. I just thought that the main problem was that I didn't have anybody to be accountable to.
Most of the people don't think that way.
Yes. Yeah, and I guess, I didn't really find that out, I guess, until I sort of met you.
So over a period of 3 months or so, since we have been engaged in accountability coaching, what do you say some of your achievements and some of the changes that you have observed about yourself?
Well, initially, I think our relationship was more of an accountability coach sort of thing, but I think over time that sort of evolved a little bit into more of a life coaching sort of scenario. Would you say that?
Yes, I think there is an element of life skills coaching within accountability coaching. Yes, it's always part of it. Yes.
Yeah. So I guess after a few months of that, I guess you really helped me to, I guess, uncover the core sort of, I don't know how to call them, the core psychology behind my thinking and behind my actions and habits.
The limiting beliefs.
The limiting beliefs, exactly. The things that I never really, that were always there, and I always sort of knew they were there, but I never really identified them and really zoned into what the actual core problem was.
Yes.
And sort of how it affected everything else. I'd always been trying to work on myself from a very surface level sort of, surface kind of level.
Okay.
And I guess the main thing, and I think this really, just from identifying that core, that sort of like shaped everything else, was that was the main thing that I learned.
Okay.
The core problem behind all
So going right to the root and analyzing what the root cause of all the problems are helped you to then go forward and build on top of it.
Yeah.
Yes. So can you share with us some of the achievements, some core achievements that you achieved during this process, and some of the changes that you observed?
So one of the core issues that we identified was that throughout my whole life I've been trying to impress other people, and this is something that I never really knew, or noticed, until you brought it up to my consciousness. For my whole life, I guess, I've always been trying to impress other people out of insecurity and that sort of stuff, and it's really affected. It's helped me with my results personally, because I always try to build on myself to impress others. But unfortunately, it also means that I can't accept my failures as much. But when you really brought that to light, it really helps me, I guess, face that side of myself. And initially it was a bit of a shock, but over time I started to accept that side of myself a bit more, the shadow self, the side that I'm not too proud to show to other people.
Yes.
And over time, as I've gotten more comfortable with that and more accepting of that, I start to reveal that side of myself to people more, so I'm a bit more vulnerable to people.
Yes.
And I think that's really helped me with...
I think one of the points that we touched upon is too many people look for changing things rather than accepting things as well. So one of the core points here was not just to change things, but also to be comfortable accepting parts of you that you're not too much proud of.
Yeah.
So first part is to accept it, and then you start to look at how you can improve.
Yes. Because I find that once you accept that side of yourself, it just frees up a lot of energy and a lot of...
You don't have to pretend anymore.
You don't have to pretend anymore, and
Yes.
I just don't have to think so much. I don't have to be so scared. I can just be me, be proud of it, and from then on, I just free up a lot more energy and resources to sort of go for what it is that I truly seek in life.
So next obvious question that I would like to know from you as a feedback for myself is how did you find the way I coached, my style, and how did you find it?
Okay. Well, as I shared with you earlier on, what I expected out of an accountability coach was somebody who would reprimand me heavily when I didn't do something right, and would, I guess, metaphorically speaking, blow me kisses and send me roses and letters of congratulations when I did do something correctly. You weren't that at all. Not to say that it's a bad thing. I actually think it's a good thing, because you were very grounded, you were very centered in the way that you approached the whole situation with me. And you were never really trying to be somebody who was an expert, who knew every answer to everything, which I find was really helpful. The fact that you didn't stroke my ego at all really helped me stay in touch with myself and be centered throughout the whole way. And so, the way I found you was you were quite, you were very patient in hearing me out, but at the same time, you didn't waste time. So if I were to talk about something and complain about something and go off topic, you'd listen to me, but you wouldn't carry it on. You'd get back to the point, the main focus, which was helping me with my core issue, the core problems, and I found that to be very, very helpful.
Thank you. Good to know. And this kind of feedback helps me to repeat this with others as well. And I know what I'm doing well and what I'm not doing well. So it's quite valuable for me to know what works and what doesn't work. So really thank you about it. The other thing that I noticed when you approached me was you were very clear and specific that you needed an accountability coach. You were probably not clear about what you'll get out of the process, but you knew that you were looking for an accountability coach.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who doesn't fully understand what coach can bring to them, what benefits a coach can bring to them, and they are living their life at a surface level, they are living their life with limiting beliefs, and they don't even know that there is this kind of service that's available, that they can approach a coach and can live the life of their dreams and can have more success in their life. So what kind of advice would you give to somebody who's in that?
Advice? Well, the thing with me is initially before I came up with this idea of having an accountability coach, is that I thought I'd try to do everything by myself. And while I think it's quite a noble thing and it's like very, heroic in a sense, at the end of the day, I think it's much faster to have somebody else to help you along the way. I mean, a hero's always got his sidekick, right? And the sidekick can help him rescue the hero sometimes too. So what I wanted to say, I guess, is when you're by yourself and you're trying to solve your own sort of issues on your own, it's very easy to get lost in your own thoughts, in your own sort of mind. So you might have an idea of doing something a certain way, but because you're sort of clouded by your own sort of views and your own perceptions, experiences, and emotions,
Yes.
it can often be quite difficult to carry out what you need to do,
Yes.
what you know you need to do.
Yes.
So after a few years of experiencing that, I sort of like decided that I needed somebody else who could provide me with a third person perspective.
Different perspective.
A different perspective, that's what I mean.
Yes.
To really show me what I'm actually doing without, you know, all the emotional baggage getting in the way of how I see things and how I'm doing things. Because I felt like that was more of the truth. And it wasn't so much cloudness,
Yes. Yeah.
around that sort of area. And I guess, could you just repeat the question again? Sorry.
I think you spot on, because you have with your answer, what you have reinforced is Einstein's an age-old saying from him, in which he said that the mind that creates a problem can't solve the problem. So you know where you are at in your life based on the thinking and the behavioral patterns that you have picked up, and in order to move to a different location, you need a different perspective, but you don't have the different perspective. So it's always good to have another opinion, another perspective around it, so you can gauge that whether you are moving towards your goals or not. And I think that's what you're trying to say in your response. That's a different perspective helped you to get where you want to get.
Yeah, and it helped me see clearly where I was as well at that current stage. Because often, well, for me personally, I didn't have a lot of belief in myself. So even if I were achieving something, I wouldn't really see it and I wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
So I guess it's always important to have that different perspective. Yeah.
Very nice, and I'm really proud to see so much change in you. I know the before and after Alan, so great work. Keep up the momentum.
Thank you.
And all the best.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank
for
you
your
very
time.
much.
Thank you.